Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this 275th edition of the Nerdletter Talk. Uh, Joining you today is myself, Paul Moderman, and my amazing co-host Yelena Perfilieva. And what we do is we just chat about the things that we're gonna write about in our upcoming newsletter, and then we have really fun exchanges and insightful commentary, the extra on top of the writing itself. And we hope you guys enjoy it. And we'll kick it off with, I think, Yelena, why don't you jump in first with your
Sure.
stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me do that. All right. So we usually have three stories each. I do have little bonus item today, so which will
Oh.
be I know it will be video only, so that's exciting. All right. So my three subjects for today is first one is vaguely formulated as chasing kind of SAP hard skills. There have been a lot of questions around on Reddit or on other SAP spaces, which basically are like, well, what's the next hot skill in SAP world? Like,
People
what's
ask that all the time.
yeah, like what's
Yeah.
gonna be popular? What do I invest in? Like and that just I just pulled random examples and people actually frequently just go and delete those because I've definitely seen more, but I'm just not seeing them anymore. I
Mm,
sometimes find
mm.
deleted stuff. Um, so I guess they get their information or no information, and they're like, okay, I'm not sharing. So, which kind of proves the point. So this one is actually pretty intelligent question, I would say. First of all, person provided some background about themselves. They're saying they're in France and I have this and that. So
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
actually helps to provide
Yeah.
specific career advice. But there are more just like really like can decide between MM or IBA consultant. Like okay, how do we know? Or this one is just like
But
being like which one is better? Like
that's like saying apples or oranges, which is better? Like, I don't know,
yeah,
man.
like
Eat
like
one and tell
based
yourself, right?
based on
Yeah.
what? So
Yeah.
but in general it's the and I mean some of these are legitimate just asking for career advice, like the first one. But some are like just like give me so someone please tell me what is a magical SAP modular product which will make me reach beyond the wildest dreams and provide awesome job security,
Yeah.
etc., etc. And as I mean, as we all know, that thing doesn't really exist
Yeah.
because first of all, no one can see the future. If we could see the future, we would probably not tell anyone because then you can get rich yourself. So why share with
Yeah.
anyone anyone that kind of information?
I know.
So
I know. Come compete with me for my niche
yeah,
space, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That would be like asking for like stock tips. So at
Yeah.
best, you're gonna get sucked into some kind of pump and dump scheme. In the worst case, like nobody is gonna go to jail for trading insider information. So that's just very silly question. And
Yeah.
so I do have some observations on this, but I also remembered one specific profession that was exactly like this few years ago, and I found this. It's data scientist. So
Yeah.
I don't remember exact year, but it was a while. It might be 10 years already at this point. So data scientist as a profession, it just kind of began. It kind of rose out of nowhere, out of
Yeah.
some analytics solution created, so there seemed to be a need for this profession, and it was because it was so suddenly kind of came out of nowhere. There weren't really people at that point that were trained in any way to
Yep.
be data
Yep.
scientists
Yep.
because I mean it's brand new and it takes probably a few years to prepare. People study at universities and stuff.
Yep.
So whoever was first on this pyramid scheme of profession, they probably got rich, I guess.
Yeah.
But I know many people joined programs at universities and started degrees in data science based on believing this is going to be the next hot skill. And now
Mm.
this is actually from 2022 already, but I found this really interesting discussion. This is saying like, are there already too many data scientists? And
Yeah.
there is really good observation actually here saying it's not really the case of saturation is companies realizing that most data scientists don't actually deliver well. You can measure it to the salaries they were asking. Most companies don't have enough data, don't have hygienic enough data,
Yeah.
which this actually is like this is actually can be conversation on its own in SAP space about data. But speaking about professions, this clearly shows like if you don't happen to be like in the right place at the right time, usually purely by accident, there really isn't a way you can foresee intelligently and start kind of
No.
jumping the next like big wave because just because future is unknown and
Yeah.
if there is some information that people have, then buddy, you're not the only one thinking the same thing. It's just other people are not asking. They are already doing, there are already people trained in whatever.
Yeah.
And there will be a lot of competition when you get trained, when you get there, you will not be like next like big shot anymore because there will be more
I,
people.
the thing that pops in my head when I see those questions, because
Mm,
like I see those same, I mean, I go to the same subreddit, but I also see those questions all over the place, especially in the SAP world.
mm,
But just in general, it happens in other places too. And I keep thinking to myself, like, part of me is like, okay, I get it. Like, make your bag and go home and awesome, right? Like,
mm,
work sucks. Do what you can to get rich and get out, right?
yeah.
I get it. The other part of me is like, what an ass backwards way to like make an impact,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
like that's totally different than like I see a space in the universe where I think my expertise could help, or I think I see a problem and I see like my skills applying to it, and it's more like somebody point me at the biggest pile and I will go take my shovel there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a difference, and the questions like this are like so it makes me kind of like it sucks that the world has to be kind of that way that like it's a valid question in some sense even if the answer is impossible to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
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 And I'm just, I honestly, I just want to write something that I could just send the link to to people just repeatedly because it's just something I think that needs to be said out loud. That like bro, like how do
Yeah,
you think this can even be answered?
there's
Like
yeah.
yeah. And honestly, again, there is a difference between asking for career advice with given specific information for a specific person, and questions like, which is
Which is
like better?
best?
Am I made of? That honestly, that type of people who ask these questions, I don't even want them in
Yeah.
SAP world. It's like, go do something else,
We're gonna
please.
tell
Like,
them that we're
I
gonna tell them that Oracle's the best.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And this is funny because not exactly the same situation, but kind of similar. I live in near Raleigh, North Carolina, which somehow got on some list of like best cities in the
I've
world
seen
in the
that.
US
Yeah.
for something. So people
Yep.
started to move here, and now there are a little bit too many people moving here. So every time on the local sub, some question pops up like, oh, tell me more about Raleigh. Like, should I move about Raleigh? People started to reply like, Charlotte is the best city, so move there. Like, go there. Like, there are don't come here. Like, we're a fool. So go to other place. So yeah, this is like do Oracle. Oracle is the next hot skill guy. So yeah, go or girl, like go do that. So all right, so just moving on to the next subject. Next one is something that's not new and exciting in any way, but I keep thinking and keep returning to this concept in many projects and in many
Mhm.
ways. So most recently, again, we had some discussions at work about like lengthy projects. And I think this concept is many times just totally lost on business people and project managers. And people just don't really understand what it is.
Yeah.
And I think specifically, they tend to focus on the minimum and forget about viable part of it.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
every time you bring this up and it's like, what? You're asking us like to give up stuff? Like, what do you mean? Like we were promised like universe and everything, and when there are certain limits, like there's certain number of people, number of that length of time, so you can kind of do the math. You
Yeah.
do you actually want to go live with something and then just push it out and then add to it, or do you want to keep going on forever and then just, I don't know, go live with never and with nothing? So and funny enough, this is a very popular concept in agile, and I think it should
Mm.
be more than agile. It should be just general concept in life and everywhere.
Yeah,
There
for
are
sure.
also articles like this one who speak kind of about this, but when I read a little bit more about this, even though it's catchy title, being almost like anti MVP, but when I just scroll through this, it actually talks more about when this concept is just applied incorrectly. So it's not like concept is wrong. It's really sometimes misunderstood and maybe just not acted upon correctly. So I'll have just a bit with some thoughts on this. All right, and the third one. So SAP released update in SAP BTP ABAP environment
Mm.
2502. It's not just BTP, so I really hate this name, super confusing. So there is essentially new kind of ABAP, new ABAP release, which is 9.14 here. So it's always like connecting this, like, is this like BTP?
Wait,
Is
so where
this
does it
like
does
is it
yeah.
2502, 914? Like, so I
seven
always like
seven
my
seven four. Like
yeah,
what?
and then
Yeah.
people look at SAP GUI and they're like, I'm version 8. Like, okay, so this is just totally bizarre space, but this is okay, this is how SAP structures it. So some new ABAP stuff. And there are some news that are probably kind of important long term, but none of this, not much of this news is usually something that kind of makes wave, I guess, in ABAP world, because a lot of it is important and useful, but kind of mundane stuff. However, in this time, so it's not really part of ABAP. It's I think part of ADT, but it is kind of part of this release.
Mm.
So there is a new feature called IDE actions, which I'm kind of become really interested in, and of course Bjorn Schultz, our big friend of the
Yeah.
nerds. Bjorn is like ahead of everyone, so it's just coming out, but he's
He's
already
already
out
done
there
it.
with
Yeah.
already done it, got a badge and moved on. So he already posted a blog with some more of an explanation on this and his kind of experiment. So I'm gonna dig into this myself. I'm not sure if I'm necessarily gonna get a chance to do kind of hands-on because I need to catch up to this release. But I think it's something that can be really useful and interesting. So these are um, and actually I tried to understand like what is this like exactly? Is this like a macro? Is this like an AI agent, like poor man's AI agent or something like
Hmm.
this? So I will dig into this more and try to interpret it as in kind of simple terms
Mm.
to help others to kind of what exactly can we do with this? All right. So bonus item. All right. So coming up. So Thomas Jung, um, finally completed 19 years in the SAP containment unit
Shout
in
out to
SAP
Thomas. Yeah.
penitentiary. So LinkedIn alerted the universe of this great milestone. So um, and looking at it, I kind of didn't realize it's been such a long time. And as someone who kind of grew up with Thomas and Rich, let's not forget about his.
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I- I'm not sure who is like a sidekick, who is the kind of main attraction. I think they. So I don't want to make make any assumptions or statements, but Thomas and Rich, they kind of go back a long time, and they have been great educators in SAP community
Hmm.
for as long as I remember. When I started, they were already there, and when you saw Thomas doing something, you always knew it was good quality. So
Hmm.
this remains kind of good housekeeping,
Yeah.
quality seal for
Hmm.
content.
Hmm.
And so thank you so much, Thomas and Rich, for
Hmm.
sticking with us for such a long time. And
Hmm.
yeah, just doing what you do and keep doing. Hopefully, I kind of hope we might retire at the same time. So but I'm really glad that our career ships kind of met at this point, and then we
Mm.
had this good journey, and hopefully we'll be there for a bit. And yeah, thank you so much. So just wanted to show some appreciation and acknowledgement of this
There's
milestone
the
for
shout out.
Thomas. Yeah. So
Lovely.
yeah, so that's all for me. Over to
Okay.
you, Paul.
Over to me. Make sure I pick the right Chrome window. Okay. So, I've been kind of a on again, off again follower of Martin Fowler over the years. I think now he's at ThoughtWorks, and they publish a ton of good stuff over there. Pertinent to life right now is a panel, and I haven't got the chance to watch it yet, but a panel starring Martin, and the topic is where is software development going?
Mm,
And I think it's sort of weirdly like, how do I put this? It's it's I feel like it's going to be pertinent and not pertinent, or I guess I should rephrase that. I feel like it's going to be, or I feel like software development is going to be amazingly different, and yet sort of also a lot the same in
yeah.
in the coming years. In that, like, there will be maybe some of the tools will improve a ton, but also those will just inspire different kinds of problems
Mm,
that once again require more like process innovation, more tool innovation, more language innovation. Like, it feels, if at the moment it still feels like, even if all of the AI dreams come true, there still will be just things to do, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so whether AI is a factor in this talk, I don't know. I want to find out. But like the part of me that's like still got some time left in my career, because I mean, I talked to my financial advisor and I cannot retire today. That's for sure. I need to do
Bummer.
something. Um,
Bummer.
so I have to, so it's pertinent to like, well, I guess, even just for myself, is the rest of my career going to be in software, or is it going to be
Yeah.
something else? And if the rest of my career is in software, what's that going to look like? Is it going to be different, the same, whatever? Like, and obviously it's a panel, and who knows? But I want to hear somebody like Martin talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's one thing. Um, I have been doing uh reading. I've been so this is ChatGPT, and this is actually the deep research tool that you can use in ChatGPT, where you give it a query and then it disappears for 10 minutes and like
Mm,
scours the internet and writes you a report for all this stuff. One of the things I want to find out about is like the actual lowdown on like what people are actually experiencing with agents these days.
mm,
Because like every ERP vendor and their brother is like doing agents in some form for their customers. Salesforce kind of came to the front in terms of like, we're just gonna lay on the horn for like 30 minutes and
yeah.
shout agents to the world,
Yeah.
back last year. And they released it in a suite called Agentforce. And what I haven't heard yet, it seems like the only thing I stumble across is like Mark Benioff like insulting Microsoft about it. But what I have never heard is somebody who actually has used the agents talk about their experience using the agents.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to know is like, okay, like, I, let me just like swim through the bullshit for a minute here, and like what do they work now? Do they work to what they say they're going to do?
Mm.
And so I thought it might be interesting to use an agent because deep research is very much an agent. To use an agent to do the first step of research.
Mm.
And then from there, because the nice thing about the deep research is it gives you like the sources it
Mm.
uses
Oh, that's
to
cool.
construct
Yeah.
things, right? So like I can get the overview with like links to the sources and then go to the source and like find out more about that
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
And so like I want to find out like what the hell is with Agentforce? Is it a real thing or is it a BS machine right
Yeah.
now? And I legit don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm a person who's like I do believe that like generally speaking, AI agents could work,
Mm.
but that's different than saying yes, the agent force and the Copilot agents for Dynamics and whatever Workday does and whatever NetSuite or whoever, right? That's different than saying that those things actually work right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to find out. Like, okay, somebody give me actually like your story of using it. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that says. But
And it's interesting that so so this exactly information you're looking for is okay, company told us this exists, they told us this is awesome. Has anyone actually used it? What
yeah,
do you think about it?
yeah,
And this is the same pretty much goes for SAP as well, because let's take the recent announcement for like ABAP Joule, and
yeah.
then okay, you announced it, you're saying is awesome. Has anyone like used it? Where are those people? What do they think? Because that's
What do they think?
yeah, that's what I'm really interested about. And I
Yeah.
by the way, some follow up. I think I mean we wrote about ABAP and Joule
Hmm.
few times even before
Yeah.
it was kind of because it was announced several times
Yeah.
before SAP is like pre-announcing. Now we're
Hmm.
announcing intention to release it, and then so we ended up writing about it for a bit. And I was in their latest the real announcement that came out when it's actually general available.
Hmm.
I was very confused because they're saying like oh, this was like tried by thousands of developers. I'm looking like how like where are they? How could they
Can
do
I
that? Because
can I talk to them? Yeah.
yeah, like where so I was just like, where is it? Because I'm seeing like zero posts like out there in the wild. Someone like, oh, I tried, and I don't know if they're under NDA before release. I don't know. Like you, like I don't know, but I want to
Yeah.
find out. And then I saw just yesterday another blog post where I had a light bulb moment who those thousands are, and they're like, oh, we shared this tool for with developers within SAP, and we shared it with like I don't know 7 8,000 developers SAP has, and we had like overwhelmingly positive feedback. And like no shit share like we we shared our homegrown tool with our own developers who are employed
Yeah.
by us, and we asked them, tell us your very honest unbiased
Weird.
opinion.
Nobody
Yeah, like
hated it. That's
and no,
so
and yeah, and
interesting.
we didn't get any negative feedback. Wow. So let's celebrate. So now I'm like, okay, now I understand who those thousands are and why
That's
we're
like a
not gonna
that's like that's like an aircraft carrier mission accomplished banner
exactly.
moment.
So we're never gonna hear from those developers unless they are
Mm,
specifically authorized by
yeah.
SAP. And quite frankly, I do suspect that lots of those developers they were probably just either new to ABAP maybe. It kind of connects with recent layoffs from SAP, where they laid off lots of more senior staff to bring on cheaper,
Yeah.
cheaper new people. So I mean, it's kind of no brainer. If I'm just totally new, it would seem totally awesome to me, versus someone who is already somewhat experienced, and they
Yeah.
would have total different use for it. I
Yep.
mean, it's I don't want to say that beginner use case is invalid, but that doesn't represent like
It's
vast
different.
majority
It's
of
different than
yeah
experienced. Yeah.
yeah exactly. All
Yeah.
right, sorry sorry for
No,
the
it's okay.
sidebar.
That's why we do the video, so we can bitch
Hey
about
hey
stuff, right?
hey yeah awesome.
Okay, finally, there and so I hit on this from an SAP news like news at SAP.com or whatever their news site
Mm,
is. And then that story got pulled down or something went funky on their CMS or whatever. But I found this same thing talking about this. This is a decision brief slash study, probably a loose way to say that, about the actual value of SAP Build in a development environment.
Mm.
Now, I say actual value, but like you got to be careful with that, right? Because look who the study is commissioned by.
Yeah,
Huh.
exactly.
I wonder whether it's going to say it's
Yeah,
good or bad, right? But
yeah.
I do want to try to find some more details because even before AI kind of stormed the world, I
Mm.
did live in a universe of like low code, no code environments.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of low code, no code in its incarnation, 3, 4 years ago was definitely a thing and still is a thing, don't get me wrong, that looked very poised to eat like a certain slice of the pie in
Mm.
terms of like what do developers typically do for enterprise development.
Mm.
And back then it was like meaningful, but maybe still a small slice of the pie.
Mm.
Um, and I want to understand is has that changed? So
Mm.
what I probably should have done is rather than going to this, I probably should use OpenAI Deep Research to do the same thing for SAP Build. And who knows, maybe I will. I'll link to it if I do that.
Yeah.
Um, but like I like because even with things like this, there is still some overhead on the like the setup and tear down and administration and all that kind of stuff. And so what I
Yeah.
don't know with things like SAP Build, I guess specifically SAP Build, is so do you see the value? So are you basically the same question for Agentforce, right? I get what the tech should do. Is it doing it in a way that gives you value? That's what I want to know. So I probably did pick the wrong thing to look at because I should go to do that other stuff. But the question I have in my head is WTF SAP Build? Is it worth it to like pivot all your life into that
Yeah.
universe?
Yeah. And you,
Yeah.
you should publish your decision brief commissioned by boring
Commissioned
enterprise
by
nerds.
Boring Enterprise Nerds. I gotta
So
tell you, and,
we'll,
and by the
yeah.
way, the commissions that those guys pay, the Boring Enterprise Nerds, are not great.
Yeah.
Like SAP probably paid a lot more than we're gonna pay to discover the same
Yeah.
answers. Okay, so anyway, that is my set of stories. Thank you, of course, Yelena, for showing the world yours. Um, Please like, watch, subscribe, read, send hate mail, send physical mail to us. If you can find our address, hey, do that too. We just hope you guys read and respond and enjoy what we do. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you. Bye.